everyone, welcome to the first of my instructional videos on how to do your music theory, and I apologise if you can hear my dishwasher in the background or indeed my daughter watching cats. So the first chapter in your theory book, as many of you know, is time names and time values, and in all of these theory chapters the information that you need is always given in a coloured box at the beginning of the chapter. So this chapter is telling you about the lengths of notes and what they're called. So you've got your time name, your time value, so how long it lasts for, and this table we'll talk about in a second, which tells you about the relationship between the different lengths of notes. Time names first of all. Now there's a lot of history as to why these notes have the time names that they do. It's slightly confusing because they don't really make a lot of sense. The American system is put in brackets here, and that makes a whole lot more sense. You've got a whole note, a half note, a quarter note and an eighth note, but sadly in English we use the old-fashioned name. So we'll start with the semi-breve. So here we go, semi-breve, its value is 4 beats and it looks like that, it's just an oval. We have a minim and it lasts for 2 beats, and it is a little circle with a stem on it, and as you can see from this table here, you can fit 2 minims into the length of a semi-breve, because minims last for 2 beats and a semi-breve lasts for 4 beats. Then you've got a crotchet, which is 1 beat long, so that's our kind of basic unit, and a crotchet is a coloured in circle with a stem on, and when you're drawing it's really easy sometimes to not make it very clear whether your note is coloured in or not, and it really must be clear, because when it's coloured in it's 1 beat, it's a crotchet, and when it's not coloured in it's 2 beats, the minim. And then finally a quaver, which is half a beat long, and that is coloured in with a stem and a little curly tail on. So you can see here that 2 quavers fit into the same length of time as 1 crotchet, because there are 2 halves in one. Or you could see that there are 4 quavers in the space of a minim, or indeed 2 crotchets in the space of a minim. In the space of a semi-breve, the longest note, you can have 2 minims, or you can have 4 crotchets, or you can have 8 quavers. All of those things add up to 4 beats. Right, so the first exercise, complete the time name and copy the note. Obviously you're going to fill in semi-breve here and fill in the rest, and the bit that people always forget is the copying in the note. So here we go, I'm just going to do the first one for you. A semi-breve like that. You don't need to worry about doing the little extra bits at the side like the printer does when they print it out. Just an oval will be absolutely fine. Okay, so I've just moved it down to the bottom of the page. Now all you have to do here is fill in the note. Here are the notes up here, this is what they look like, so have a look at what a semi-breve looks like, draw one there, and then look at its time value, which is in the column of numbers, and put that in there. Just watch out over here, they put the time values out of order. Instead of going 4, 2, 1 1/2 from the longest to the shortest, they go 4, 1, 2 1/2, so they mix up the 1 and 2 there, so just watch out for that when you're doing that exercise. Moving over to the opposite page, just don't get mixed up between these two. So circle the longest note first of all. The longest note out of this one is the semi-breve, because it lasts for 4 beats, so you're going to circle it and write in semi-breve. Okay, and then this one is circle the shortest note, so don't get mixed up between those two. This next question I think is slightly confusing, because it said write the time values in the order. Now the time values, I'll just move the book. Over here in this table it says the time values are the 4, 2, 1 1/2, but I think what it actually means is the notes. Okay, so it wants you to write the notes, these here, from the shortest to the longest, and then the longest to the shortest. Then for exercise 6, one note that has the same value as the given notes. Now I always think it's easier to write underneath what value they have. So a crotchet we know is 1, And there's another crotchet there. Don't know how easily you can see my pencil on the camera there, but it's there. And 1 plus 1 equals 2. So we know it's going to be a 2-beat note that we want in that box there. And if we have a look over at the table at the beginning of the chapter, our 2-beat note is our minim, it's that one. So it is a circle that's not coloured in with a stem on it. So essentially it's maths. Okay, and the bottom one is maths as well. People always say, what does this mean? It's a weird way of saying a crotchet equals how many quavers. Okay, crotchet equals how many quavers? Well, we know that a quaver is a half and the crotchet is 1. So again, it's maths. It's saying how many halves go into 1. And the answer is 2 halves go into 1. If we go back to our table up here, which I'm just trying to fit in on the screen, you can also just do it by looking here, saying how many quavers fit into a crotchet. There you go, you can see that 2 quavers fit into the same length of time as a crotchet there. Okay, so hopefully that will help you to complete that chapter.